Hey, welcome to Late Night Football Talk. I'm your host, Nick Manzaro. Today's Week 7 recap. I'm going to be talking about the Panthers, Bucks at Panthers, Packers at Washington, Chiefs at 49ers, Dolphins at Steelers, and then I'm also going to give the Bears at Patriots because I was at that game, and then I'm also going to go now because it's a little late because I was at that game, so my schedule got kind of messed up. I'm going to give the Baltimore at Tampa Bay. All right. Like I said, Week 7 recap. Let's see here. The Bucks at Panthers. Oh, this is tough as a Bucks fan. You know, in the preview, I was kind of thinking that this is going to be their get right game, but it didn't really happen. Um, One thing that really stood out to me this game is, as much as the media kind of wants to paint like Brady as being, I would say they trending on Twitter was like him retiring. Call me crazy. I don't care. Call me I am a Tom Brady fan above everything. He's the main reason I watch football. Um, I don't know. You know, things will change heavily for me. I'm so glad that he came back. Um, but above everything with Tom Brady, it's like you still see he has the ability to get every throw. You know, he might miss throws here and there, and that's where he deserves criticism. But at the same time, it's like it's not because he can't do it. You know, he's off with his receivers. The Buccaneers, you know, I want to almost blame a little bit of the defense in this game, a little bit of Mike Evans. Um, the line didn't play terrible. You know, I would give a lot of props to the Carolina defense because they are pretty good. They're not like scrubs, you know, and so you got to give them as much credit as possible. And that guy Burns is awesome. I mean, there was a reason that the Chiefs were looking to. I think they were the one that might have offered the 2 first-round picks. Um, the Chiefs wanted them. There was another team that wanted them too. I forget if it was the 49ers or not, but apparently they don't want to trade anyone on their defense, like J.C. Horn and Burns. But Shaq Thompson is also. I know he's been. Some of the local guys in New England have been talking about trying to get him from there, and I think that might actually be a good option because he is pretty talented. But kind of getting into that game, so things that stood out to me as a Tampa Bay fan, or quote unquote Brady fan, um, Mike Evans really like fucking sucked. I mean, just starting out, I know he had comments after the game also that kind of he saw the life in the team kind of get drained, and I would say when he missed that like wide open pass, everything just went to shit after that. Even though I would actually probably say he should have got penalized because he threw that defender down on the ground. I can't remember who it was, but the guy pretty much just planted on his back and he caught the ball, and then it looked like he went to like kind of slide his fingers down the ball to really get a good grasp, and instead he chucked the ball forward. But that would have been like a 75-yard touchdown. Would have been awesome. But besides that play, there was multiple times. So in the red zone, at the same, it was I think it was at like the 1 yard line. He was on the left side, single covered, runs like 10 yards, stops running. Brady's like, what the hell? He passed it in kind of the corner of the end zone, so he anticipated him to keep fighting for it, but there was just multiple times. There was another time deep over the middle. Brady threw it, hucked it deep, expecting Mike Evans to possibly, fight with the defender to get it. Nothing. He just stopped running. He was quitting, and you could see Evans was like, oh, fuck. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. It just wasn't his day at all. Godwin looks pretty good, considering that he's coming back from injury. I would say this. I mean, he's just not someone you can rely on to get a lot of separation at this time. It looks like none of the wide receivers are gaining separation. I think they're really missing like kind of that scattery kind of guy like Antonio Brown used to be, or like Gronk, where you might have to leave a defender in because you think he's blocking, and then hey, if they did not, if they thought, oh, he's he's going to block this play, they would run out and Gronk would be single covered or wouldn't be covered at all for the most part. Um, in the red zone, I mean, Gronk is like the greatest red zone threat ever. So Mike Evans would be wide open, stuff like that. And Fournette, oh my God, we had the 4th and 1, and here's another thing. There was I believe it was 4th and 1 on the right side. They went to our strong side. They went to Wirfs and Evans. Evans whiffed his block. Wirfs too, for that matter. They both, and I mean, Wirfs is all pro. I would say he's the best right tackle in the league. He's one of the best tackles overall in the game. Missed their blocks. Leonard Fournette got just gang tackled nowhere. And it's just that right there was what the whole game looked like. They should not have got blown out. I mean, the Panthers, like I said, they have a good defense. But even our whole team just didn't show up. Camardo looked pretty good. I will give him credit for that. He had some pretty deep punts, and overall, the field goal positioning was, I feel like the Panthers had to work for it, and they did. I mean, playing with a banged up secondary, you would think that, they would just be passing everywhere on us. No. They ran the ball on us, which is insulting because, as the last couple of years, every team comes in playing the Bucs going, hey, we can't run the ball. And I don't know if it's because of Hicks not being in. I believe he's practicing now. But Sue not being there anymore. I would say they're probably missing some of their leaders also. It's very frustrating. It's one of these things where it's you don't know if they're ever going to fix it. And that's what's just demoralizing. Let's see. Time of possession in this game. The Bucs had it 31 minutes to Panthers 29. It's mainly because the Panthers, they would score with the running backs. I think one of their guys, I think he might have had 75 yards. He just killed it in one play. First down. So the Bucs had 17. Panthers had 14. But when it mattered most, they wasted it on. They had 2 4th down conversions they couldn't make. Total yards, the Bucs had 322, and the Panthers had 344. That's because they had 173 rushing yards. The Panthers had 170. P.J. Walker looked okay. He definitely, there's a lot of people saying he outgunned Tom Brady, and listen, I would say if he did, but I mean Brady did 276, not at all where he's capable of. But you can just tell they're just not in that right mode. I did see Rachaad White play a little bit more. He looked a little more explosive, and I think they kind of needed that a little quicker, getting through the line. I would not be surprised. I'll talk about this later. Or maybe, I'll bring up the Baltimore game right after this one just because we're on the topic. I wouldn't be surprised if they use him more going forward. Just to give either Lenny some, more of a break, but also they just to give that little bit more explosive so the other team's defense is trying something different. They're not so used to Lenny he's a strong, brutal running back. He'll hit you. He loves the contact. Rashaad's more of a receiving threat, but he definitely has a quicker burst. A little bit what Ronald Jones used to kind of mix up into the offense, which I think we're also missing a little bit. Let's see. The Bucs had 66 total plays. The Panthers had 50. So it's the Bucs had their chances. They just couldn't do it. They did not deserve to win this game. And that's just what it came down to. Let's see. No turnovers overall, which is good. Brady's not playing amazing. He's not carrying the team is really what I would say. But he's not throwing picks, and he has fumbled, but he didn't in this game. And, he's playing safe because he knows that there's no room for error to give the other team short fields and such, which, I mean, I guess the 4th downs kind of do that anyways, but anyways, it's really tough being a Bucs fan right now. Let's see. Oh, Luke Gedeke was, so this is kind of weird. He said, Todd Bowles during his press conference was saying that they were giving him a break because he was a little banged up, but he kept coming back in and then out. And I actually think he was being benched, and they didn't want to say he was being benched. Um, he's not playing in the game versus Baltimore, which is the Thursday night game. Um, I don't know who the backup besides that is. I know Wells, Josh Wells, the tackle. I don't know if he can also play guard. What I would say, this team will look a lot better. And there was reports. I forget who the reporter was. There was reports that Jensen might be coming back soon. That to me is very promising. Mainly because he gives such a nastiness to the line. When you're playing Jensen, I mean, I remember when I first started following the Bucs because Brady went there. It was basically like, man, this guy gets so many penalties because he's always fighting somebody. He knows just how to get someone to like be really pissed off and punch him in the helmet. And I used to be like, dude, don't, I used to hate it so much, but now I'm just like, can you just give the line some balls right now? Because they have nothing. There's like, I don't know if there's no Energizer Bunny there, but what it is, but it's driving me crazy. They don't get it. There's no forward push whatsoever. There's no guards running out, shifting out, leading on anything. I would take Vita Vea at a fullback at this point. We did see a fullback. Who was playing that? Kieft, the tight end Kieft. He was playing it, but I think he's also injured. I think he might have an ankle injury, I believe. So, Otten looks pretty good in this game. He might have had like 60 yards. Let me bring that up. I do think I think Otten has a higher ceiling. Let's see, Buccaneers box score. Uh, 64 yards. He had 4 receptions. Mike Evan, 9 receptions, 96 yards. So that is crazy to me, because if you think about it, he should have had almost 200 yards. It's ridiculous. 10-yard, a 20-yard long. Kate Otten 35. So almost one reception took half his yards away. But he did have a really long fourth. I think it was a fourth down, or it was a third, and they were still in their territory, so they were gonna have to punt it. Scotty Miller 2 for 6. They're not using any of these guys. I know. Recently, I saw on, I believe, Bleacher Report that Tyler Johnson got released from the Texans. I would sure think about bringing him back, because at least he was the third receiver, and I think they just wanted to limit the amount of guys that could be thrown to get more chemistry. And I think they could use him again. He made some big plays, especially in the Green Bay game during 21 Super Bowl run. Not so much last year towards the end, but he got hurt. Grayson was a big help back last year. Let's see. Russell Gage 4 for 39. Chris Godwin, like I said, 7 for 43. Average of 6 yards. He's just not getting that. He wasn't really a deep threat, but that deep middle, the separation, he's just not getting it. And I hope it comes, as we get further in the season. He'll be at that 12-month mark. I didn't see the defense did not play well. Winfield got a concussion. He's going to be out for Thursday. I guess I'll just get into Thursday's game here. Let's see here. Before I do that, so Buccaneers are 3-4, Panthers were 2-5. Complete shit show. Okay, so Baltimore at Ravens at Baltimore at Tampa Bay. Okay, so let's see. It's I'm actually I should probably explain this. One of the reasons this show is called the late night show is because I usually record it at like 1 in the morning. So this game's actually later on today. It's currently 10:27, and so Thursday already, and so it's at 8:15 tonight. Give some points per game and some stats here. So the points per game for the Baltimore Ravens is 26.3. The points per game for the Bucks is 20.2. They are not scoring many points. It's so weird. If you actually look at the Kansas City game, I think they scored half like half the touchdowns they've scored throughout all the 6 games were in that one game alone. They seem to play up and down to the competition. It's really not indicative of a good football team. So the yards per game, the Baltimore Ravens are averaging 361.3. The Bucks are averaging 332. Opponents' points per game. This is where it gets a little bit different. Baltimore, their defense is not quite as good as the Bucks. They're at 23. They're letting their opponents score at least 23.5, or averaging 23.5, while the Bucks are averaging 17.2. So now some of that I think was more early on when the Bucks were healthy. You know, having Hicks, Logan Ryan, like Davis. Davis was hurt; he didn't play. Sean Murphy Bunting, who didn't really play most of it, but he's played at least the last 3 games, or the last 2, I should say. Also, who's the other third corner that went out? I'm losing his name. But anyways, really banged up in the secondary. So let's see here. They're pretty much even on penalties, 33, 36. The penalty yards are a lot more. Let's see. So when the Bucks are getting penalties, they seem to be getting a lot of 15-yarders, a lot of roughing the passer, which is not good. But Baltimore Ravens isn't, so they're probably holding more, is what I would say. And I don't think, I think their pass rush is still good, but they're probably not getting, they're playing smart, that's not good. That, if I had to give a score for this game, I think it's going to be probably in the 20s, and I don't think things are looking good for the Bucks here. JPP is on Baltimore now, and I think he knows the whole line. He knows Wirfs, who was a younger player. Obviously, he was just there last year with them, and he knows Donovan Smith, who I think is still dealing with that elbow issue, and he's kind of getting beat bad, and so I think that's going to be a huge issue. I think JPP's definitely getting at least 1 sack during this game, unless Brady literally is making it a point not to let him get one. Brady's he's releasing the ball extremely fast. I think he had a couple times where it's like just over a second, which is crazy. He's not doing any deep throws, which I would like to see, but because I don't think he trusts the line in front of him, even though their pass blocking is not that bad. During that 2-second window, he's okay. No one's really bearing down on him. I don't think he's been sacked that often, but the thing is he doesn't want to be sacked because he's like 45 or whatever. But I imagine when it gets closer to playoff time, one of the things I've seen with him is he'll stay in there longer because he has no choice. They have to win the games. The game, he's a big game player when it really matters. You're generally never out of a game with him. But I am worried about the JPP thing. The Baltimore Ravens play with a lot of attitude, so I hope we don't. Thursday night games seem to have a lot of injuries. I really hope some more guys don't go down for the Bucks. They really could use a game where no one goes down and they kind of get healthy. I should say this: Julio Jones was reported as being game time decision. That would help Brady right now, just because I think Julio could get separation where some of these guys aren't. Just as a savvy vet, you don't even really need the speed when you just know coverages so well, and your technique is just flawless, And he definitely is one of those guys, even though he still does have the speed and is a deep threat. Mike Evans is kind of slowed down. He's dealing with an ankle injury that he sustained during the Panthers game. I believe Russell Gage is out for this game. A huge thing I would look at is I could see the Bucks defending really well against Baltimore if uh, Devin White is covering as a spy against Lamar Jackson. I think that might be one of the only things that could stop Lamar Jackson's rushing attack. You know, if he's, I mean, Devin White's faster than Lamar Jackson. He's a bullet. If he doesn't have to play coverage and his only job is to spy, they don't have that many weapons. So if they scheme it correctly, I think they could do it. I want to say Mark Andrews isn't playing in this game. He has been injured also. I could double check that too. I believe Hicks is gonna play also. Let's see here. Mark Andrews. Check this out here. CBS. Let's find out. All right, let's see. So these are the people. Calais Campbell, illness, will be out. All right, he's the only one listed out at the moment. Mark Andrews, Josh Bynes, Gus Edwards, Marlon Humphrey, hamstring injury, Marcus Peters, quad, offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley, ankle, corner Brandon Stevens, oblique, wide receiver Rashad Bateman, foot, all questionable. If I had to guess, I'm going to say Mark Andrews plays but very limited. It's really good that Calais Campbell's out because that's a huge, huge upgrade to their defensive line. That guy, he's an older guy, but he still gets to everyone. He's also the quarterback that put the hit on Mac Jones. Basically made him miss a couple seasons, give him the high ankle sprain, all that weight. That guy's like 350 pounds, like 6'10", whatever he is. Let's see. If their offensive tackle, Ronnie Stanley, is out, that could really help things. And, their corners are out. All their best corners are out also. Marlon Humphreys and Marcus Peters are awesome. Maybe that might even this up a little bit. So as far as I'm concerned, Baltimore should just come in and ruin them. Let's see. So let's look at the Bucs injury report. Cameron Brate, neck injury. I don't expect him to play. Carlton Davis. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Cameron Brate, Carlton Davis, Russell Gage, Luke Gedeke, Sean Murphy Bunting, and Antoine Winfield Jr. They're all out. Antoine has that concussion. Sean Murphy Bunting has the quad. Luke Gedeke has a foot injury. He did have a boot during the Panthers game. That's what some of the reporters were reporting after the game. Let's see. Russell Gage has a hamstring injury. Carlton Davis has been dealing with the hip. I thought that Carlton Davis was out during the Panthers game to make him available for the Thursday night game, but that sucks. Julio Jones is the only one that's questionable with the knee injury. I think he has that. I want to say he has a PCL or something wrong with his knee. They're kind of playing the long game with him. We'll see kind of what happens there. I think it's just we should just act like we don't have him on the team, and if we have him, that's great. I don't expect much. I would be on, if I'm the Bucs, I start looking at trade targets. There's got to be somebody out there that is flustered, and you can probably get. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as next year the team's going to look a lot different, I would start giving up some picks. Just start giving up some picks. Try and win now while you get the quarterback. You don't know who you're going to have next year. I don't even know who's really going to be on the market. Maybe Baker Mayfield. You never know. Another thing in the news this week is Matt Ryan benched at the Colts. That's pretty crazy. He also got injured, so he was going to be out anyways, but they pretty much somebody wanted it out there that this is not because of injury. I don't know if they I think they have a rookie QB. I wonder if they're just trying to make sure that no, he earned this job. He's going to be taking it from here on out. Maybe he's practicing pretty well or something. But anyways, if I had to give a score for the Baltimore at Bucs, I'm going to say 24 23. Someone's going to miss an extra point or something, or maybe 3 field goals instead of a field goal and a touchdown. Something's going to happen. And I'm going to say Baltimore. I would really love for the Bucks to take this game, but I just don't see it, and I want them to prove me wrong. I'm hoping if I doubt them and just expect it, it won't be so depressing. But Brady in primetime, I think they're only like 6-5 or 5-6, so he's around 50%. So this could go any way. Lamar Jackson's looking for that. He was kind of on the MVP train early on. He's looking for a new contract. He's got it all out, so I expect big things from him. Okay, let's get on to the next game. Let's see. This is the review episode, so I know I'm putting in the Thursday game, which we usually don't get too much of, so I guess that's kind of a change of pace. Let's see. Packers versus Commanders. I was able to catch the end of this game. Oh, I think the Packers line is just failing Rodgers a little bit. Rodgers seems like he's too locked in. He doesn't trust his weapons, and I think Brady falls into this category also, where he gets flustered and he wants just guys to, like Devontae, he's never covered. Kind of like Gronkowski at times. It's just one of those things where you can, exactly where it's going to be. The chemistry is just so flawless. I wish this was like this with Mike Evans, but it's not. It's just one of these deals where Aaron Jones, he's like the only guy on the team that's like a bona fide stud, which I think Aaron Jones is the best player on their team. This guy's awesome. He was still he still played awesome. Let's get into some of the stats for this game. But to lose to Washington, God, that sucks. He had a chance to take the game, just didn't do it. Let's see. And they had some good clock management in the last minute of this game. And I should say at the end of the game, they were pitching the ball off just to the nearest guy just to try and get somewhere close after time expired to the end zone. But it was to no avail. I want to say Rodgers might have had it. He was the last one to pitch it. Let's see, time of possession. This tells you everything you need to know, right? Time of possession for Washington, 37 minutes to 23 for Green Bay. That is crazy. Washington is mainly a running team, but just one of those things where I think they're getting a little healthier too with their running back getting healthy, the one that had the injury. I want to say it was a hotel. Let's see. Let's break down some of these stats. Brian Robinson, that's what I was talking about. Taylor Heineke played awesome. Just some poise at the last couple minutes that thank God I was able to catch that. Let's see. Passing yards, 198 to 194. 198 was for Washington, 194 for Green Bay, which not overall great numbers for QBs, but the rushing yards for Washington was 166. Now 38 for Green Bay. That's not good. Total return yards, 86 for Washington, 16 for Green Bay. I mean, everything is in Washington. Everything. I mean, the Green Bay had more penalties, 9 versus 7. Turnovers, they were equal. So that's about the only thing. They did, what's crazy in this is Washington and Green Bay had pretty much the same yards per play, 5.1 versus 4.9. Let's see. First downs, Washington had 22 versus 16 for Green Bay. Let's see some of the Packers. I want to see who they're throwing to. Allen Lazard, 6 for 55. Aaron Jones, 9 for 53. Like I said, Aaron Jones is the best player on this team for sure. He's awesome receiving. The only time I've ever seen him, as a Bucks fan, the only time I've ever seen him kind of fizzle out is in the NFC Championship game when oh, I can't think of his name. Our safety, they drilled him in the chest. He's playing for the Jets now. Let's see. Robert Tonyan, 3 for 32. Amari Rogers, 2 for 14. Just not good numbers overall. It's just horrendous. Let's see. Campbell had a pick. Devondre Campbell. And I mean, that was pretty much 2 tackles for Rashad Gary. I mean, their defense did nothing. Let's see. Pat O'Donnell punted 5 times for an average of 41.6, long of 55. That's pretty good. Let's see here. Let's go to the Commanders box score. Yeah, I wish I was able to catch some of this, but the Panthers Bucks game was on. Rodgers was 23 for 35, 65.7% completion. QBR of 103, which isn't bad, but not, you know, it's like Brady. You're gonna get a ton of blame anyways. He didn't make the passes when he really needed to. Taylor Heineke, 20 for 33. Taylor Heineke just doesn't have, and Rodgers technically played better than him, but he doesn't have the same expectations. You know, I mean, Aaron Rodgers was MVP last year. It's all going to be on him for that. 20 for 33, 60.6% completion, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 90.7 QBR. Brian Robinson, 20 attempts for 73 yards. Not like that great, but 24-yard long. Antonio Gibson, 10 for 59. These are all Russian, obviously. Terry McLaurin had a great catch to seal this game. 5 for 73, 14.6, 37 long, 1 touchdown. Antonio Gibson also had a touchdown. But this is going to really help the Commanders, who are 3-4. Packers also 3-4. It's just one of those things. There's so many people around that same quality bubbling team of like 3-4. A lot of guys are pretty much even. In the NFC, there's only a couple guys that really shine through right now, and that's obviously the Eagles and 49ers. I think are in a different bunch, and we can kind of get to that game now, I guess. Let's see here. 44-23 Chiefs, who are now 5-2 at 49ers, who are now 3-4. This game towards the end, you know, the Chiefs just really packed it on to the, you know, this was the first part of this game was super enjoyable. I thought the 49ers might have a chance, but I'm not a big Jimmy G fan, and I think the game got away from him, but also the defense. It became too big of a gap. That defense, I mean, at first they were kind of ball hawking, playing great, and then they just all fell apart. But I think that might have to do with Andy Reid. He's, you know, such a good offensive play caller. It really helps him out. So let's get into some of the stats for this. Time of possession, 26 minutes for KC, 34 for San Francisco. And look, they scored that many points. It's because they started to just score at will. It just became such a beatdown. They pretty much had the same first downs, 24-25. Total yards, 529 to 444. Passing yards for KC was 417. San Francisco, 343. Rushing yards for Kansas City, 112 to 101. Now, Kansas, that guy Pacheco is awesome. I wish that guy is so good. 7th round. I mean, how's that even happen? I would love to have him on the Bucks. Let's see. Penalties, 8 versus 10. Total return yards, 130 versus 64. Yeah, they had a couple fuck-ups in this game. Yards per play. Here you go. See, 9.1 for KC versus 6.2. Travis Kelce had a pretty good couple plays. I know I'm always tough on him, but he played pretty good in this game. Did he score a touchdown? I should probably check that out. Let's see here. Isaiah Pacheco, 8 for 43, 5.4 average. Awesome. I think he's taking he's the lead back at this point. Clyde Edwards-Helaire 6 for 32, 5.3. I think he's so aggressive and punches it in. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 1 touchdown. Mecole Hardman, awesome game. I want to say he had 3 or 4. Did he have 3 or 4? Let's see. 3 touchdowns. Awesome. I mean, I always thought his biggest gripe is he has like bricks for hands, but during this game, it was his night, man. Juju Smith-Schuster had some clutch catches. He was 7 for 124, 17-yard average. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, 3 for 111, 37 average. That was more of him just balling out. Like, he just had a couple really big, deep plays. Travis Kelce, 6 for 98 yards, 16 average, 27 long, no touchdowns. Let's see here. Couple picks on Garoppolo. Juwan Thornhill, he had 8 tackles, 1 pick, and Joshua Williams, 1 tackle, another pick. I'm trying to see. Let's see. Tommy Townsend, 1 punt, 33-yard average. Just 1 punt through the whole game. That's how crazy this was. Let's see here. Let's look at the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo, 25 for 37, 67.6% completion, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And then Brock Purdy, who came in later. They pretty much... I think they just don't want... They can't afford to have Garoppolo get hurt, so they got to put someone else in. I was actually wondering, like, man, they're just going to give up on this game, but they did. Let's see. We got one thing I noticed in this game early on, like when the 49ers were still in it, I was texting Joe, the usual co-host, and I was saying, man, like these wide receivers, especially Ayuk, just so talented. Debo, obviously. I mean, they get open so quick. Even just off the line, they were like pressing him, and he's so shifty. Just like 2 moves, boom, he's wide open. Catch the ball, and he'll shake a guy off him, and he's running down the field. It's just that's the kind of stuff that I just like him like an awe. And it's like, man, I would love to have coming from like the Patriots system to now like the Bucks. Like Godwin had a little bit of that. So he's one of the only people that, or maybe Edelman, because he was pretty shifty. He was killing the Chiefs pretty much whenever we played him. He was very clutch. But you never have a guy. We never had the athletic talent like this, and I just noticed it just from this system. Just like the Rams with McVay, McDaniel in Florida, and we'll talk about that game later because that was pretty cool too. Just the offensive talent was awesome. I mean, they're so good. Let's see, George Kittle 6 for 98. It was tight end day. Some nice commercials, especially George Kittle with the WWE commercials. That was pretty cool. I'd say they overdid it just a little bit. Got a little sick of it at the end, but he had a touchdown. Ray McLeod had a touchdown also. Let's see, Brandon Ayuk 7 for 82, 11.7 average. He had 21-yard long. Ray McLeod 4 for 65, 16.3. Deebo Samuel 5 for 42, 8.4, 22-yard long. Let's see. I thought Bosa had a sack. Did he have a sack? Yep, Bosa had a sack. There's no other sacks on the team. It was they couldn't get to him. Kansas City, to their credit, their line played very well. They're kind of getting into a groove. Tooney made a great play too. That guy's awesome. I still remember when he was going up against Aaron Donald in the Super Bowl in 2018. Oh, what a great lineman. But yeah, so I think the Chiefs at this point, so for this game, I think the Chiefs they're on a roll. I actually think that it helped. I thought it would hurt him not having Hill. It's helping him. The guy's killing it. Now he's able to just throw to a bunch of different guys. He was feeling it for this. And they were at 49ers, which makes it even worse. I think the the AFC right now, Chiefs and Bills. Now I would say the Bills are the best, but just amazing. I mean, I don't see how the AFC. They seem a lot. It's just so much more top loaded than the NFC. It's gonna be crazy. I already imagine the AFC Championship game. I bet it's gonna be the Chiefs versus Bills, and if it doesn't happen, maybe the Baltimore will be in there. I'd like to see what they do tomorrow or today, later on today. But the 49ers, they're still gonna be in it. They'll get healthy. Bosa wasn't even in like the last couple games, and McCaffrey played in this game. How smart of a player do you have to be to literally play like 2 days after just 2 days of studying? And he looked great. If this guy stays healthy, he's gonna make some major plays. He had a couple where I was like, man, I don't know how you even know what to do in all these different situations. And he looked flawless in some of them. Super athletic. There was one play where, I mean, the vision of this guy just cutting. He just never stopped moving. Just boom, 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 boom. And no, it was. You just tell why he's such a special player, you know. So let's see. Dolphins last game. Dolphins. Steelers at Dolphins. Low scoring game. Steelers 10. Dolphins 16. It was a lot closer than this. It literally went up to like the last couple seconds, which was what you really want out of games, because you don't, when they get out of hand, it just kind of gets boring. You want to watch something else. Crazy amounts of talent on this field, especially receiver talent. This is crazy. Let's see some of the stats here. Time of possession, 33 for the Steelers, 27 for the Dolphins. This is Tua's first game back, by the way. I thought he played pretty good, especially early on. He was making some really quick decisions. Really liked that. I don't think he wanted to get hit, obviously. I imagine that had something to do with it. Even Pickett on the other side, awesome. I mean, I saw such a difference from when he played the Bucs. He was making, I think they have something there. He's making good decisions. Their wide receiver talent is insane. I think it's probably the best in the league. I can't really think of a team that has more weapons than him. Even KC, or the Bills. Like Claypool. If you gave that wide receiving core to Mahomes or Allen, it would so be unfair. It would be ridiculous. But Pickett played great. He's coming into his own. It's only like his like third start or second start. Let's see. So what else happened? First downs, 19 for Steelers, 17 for the Dolphins. It was pretty much like an even game. 341 yards for the Steelers, 372 yards for the Dolphins. 246 passing yards versus 261, 95 to 111, 5 penalties, 54 total return yards versus 29, 69 total plays versus 62, average 4.9 versus 6. Here's where the big difference happened: 3 turnovers for the Steelers. Dolphins really capitalized that. Howard, awesome. And I believe they had a couple injuries. I think Bethel went down. They were already down Jones. So, it definitely hurt them. Let's look to see. I want to see. I forget how many times if you get picked here. Look at their defense. It's been a couple of days now. Justin Bethel, 1 interception. Noah, I'm not even going to attempt that. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. One pick, and then Javon Holland. I think Javon Holland was to end the game in the end zone. Awesome play. Just awesome. I think what's his name? Howard had one. Was it Howard? No. Was there another pick in there? Maybe it's the Holland one I'm thinking of. But anyways, someone had one, I think, just before. I thought the game was going to be over, but they got the ball back with like a minute, and they still ended up coming down the field. And he threw it towards the end zone and just didn't make it. Got picked off in the corner. But he's going to learn from that. He'll come back. He'll be good. Let's see here. Tua completed 21 of 35, 60% completion, 261. He's coming back from a concussion. He hasn't played in a couple weeks. Like I said, he was still making really good decisions. 100.1 QBR. Raheem Mostert looked really good. Really fast too. 16 for 79 yards, 4.9 average. Jalen Waddle 4 for 88, 22-yard average. Tyreek Hill 7 for 72. I would say Tyreek Hill he didn't look as good as he probably could have in this game. I think it's just because they're just gonna go up and down with them. Like Waddle, 1 week Waddle, 1 week Tyreek. Mike Gesicki had a really good catch in this to move the chains. Kenny Pickett 32. So this is the Steelers. Kenny Pickett 32 for 44. That's pretty good. 72.7% completion. And this is a rookie, so it's 257 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 70.9. It's because of 3 picks that his QBR is so low. Najee Harris 17 for 65. The guy I was facing had him. That sucked. 3.8 average. Let's see. Kenny Pickett ran for 20 yards also. Let's see. Receiving. Pat Freiermuth, 8 for 75, 9.4 average. I'm pretty sure that's the tight end. George Pickens, who I think is their number 1. I know a lot of people would say Deontay Johnson. George Pickens, 6 for 61, 10.2. Then Deontay Johnson, 5 for 42 for 8.4 average. Chase Claypool, 5 for 41. A lot of people say he's on the trading block, but I don't see why they wouldn't want to just keep him just because he's cheap, Let's see. What did their defense do? Nothing for picks. I don't think they had 1 sack. Yeah, no sacks throughout the whole night. That's crazy. Who led in tackles? Miles Jack. Just unreal speed. Devin Bush 5. So yeah, no fumbles. So just one of those nights. I did say that was the last game, but I think the Dolphins are going to come back now that they have Tua, and I think the Steelers are going to just, they're going to start building some momentum. They're facing Philadelphia this week, so definitely a hard task, but hey, I'm rooting for Pickett. Definitely I'm not for anyone getting some kind of undefeated season, which I think the Philadelphia Eagles, who today was pretty crazy, they traded for Robert Quinn from the Bears, which kind of leads me into my next game here, which is the Patriots at Bears that I attended. Awesome game. I'm not for a Pats fan, but obviously I'm not I'm a long-term Pats fan. I want them to do good in the future. But while I was at the game, I was rooting for them. One of the crazy things is I was actually one of the people doing the Zappy chants, more because I had a couple in me, but also we didn't really think that was actually going to happen. We were all looking at each other like, holy shit, did this really just happen? Did they really just put him in? We did not expect Mac Jones to get taken out. It was right after a pick. We were pretty close to the field. We had the only thing we couldn't see was the field goals because we were on the side and the lower. We were on the opponent's sideline, 120 in section 126. So let's see. We were about like 23 rows up from the field or so. Let's see. Let me get some of the stuff from that game. There's a big thing right now because they weren't sure who's starting, Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones. Today, Bill Belichick, or there was a report. Bill Belichick told some reporter, hey, get it out there that I'm starting this guy, and it's going to be Mac Jones. So let's see some of the stats from that game. I will say this. Justin Fields looked really good in this game. I actually am one of those people that it's actually harder to view the game when you're actually at it versus when you're watching on TV because you get to see that top view, watching with the sky cam and stuff. I'm generally looking at the field, and if I can't get a good thing, I'm watching the replay, or if I can't get a good look at them, I'm watching the board. And then, you don't get to have some of the cues in, like, hey, this person's out. Sometimes there's too many distractions to see, hey, this guy left the field, this guy didn't. You got to kind of just really pay attention. It is troubling at times. Justin Fields, 13 for 21, 62% completion, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, 14 attempts for 82 yards rushing. I mean, that was the big thing of the night. If I was to say why'd the Pats lose, their defense just got demolished. I mean, they pretty much had their way. David Montgomery is awesome for running too, 15 for 62, 4.1 average. Had a touchdown. Justin Fields had a rushing touchdown also. Justin Fields did have the pick, but I mean, I think it was tipped. A lot of balls were tipped during this game, and I think that's because Zappy's just kind of short. Zappy was 14 for 22, 63.6% completion, 185 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 76.4 QBR. Mac Jones was taken out after his first pick. He went 3 for 6, 50% completion. Apparently, they said it was the plan to not play him the entire game, which I don't know. I think the people definitely, being in the crowd and everything, they definitely wanted Zappy. They wanted to ride the hot hand. They weren't really sure what the deal is, Mac. And a lot of people in New England, I'm kind of this, well, who is Mac? Like, why does he get to automatically take this job? Yeah, he's a first-round pick, but at the same time, I'm kind of, look, you haven't completely established yourself. You played like 20 games. So as far as I'm concerned, whoever is the best person to play, and I mean, obviously Bill Belichick is seeing them in practice, so he's going to be able to determine that. I would ride the hot hand. I mean, as a guy who's watching every game, it looks like Bailey Zappi just plays the position or plays in their offense a little bit better. Now, I don't think they're doing the same plays. I would agree with that. That's one of the Mac Jones defenders are kind of bringing out here. And there's a lot more play action with Bailey Zappi. But at the same time, I think Mac Jones gets to change some of the offensive plays. He gets to do hot routes, and he's probably changing the play at the line of scrimmage. It's one of those things. So you got to give some and take some here. Bears defense did, they picked him off 3 times. Like I said, a lot of those were tipped, but Mac Jones, that was just a bad pick. I mean, that was horrendous. He is going to start the next game versus the Jets. We'll probably do a preview on that, so I'll hold off on any comments there. What's some other things that stood out to me? Man, even their field goal kicker was just perfect all night. So let's look at some stats. Time of possession, 37 minutes for Chicago versus 23 for the Pats. 24 first downs for Chicago, 12 for the Pats. 390 total yards versus 260. 147 passing yards versus 190. 243 rushing yards versus 70. I mean, yeah, you're gonna kill the time of possession of that. You pretty much control the whole game. It became, I think, Bill Belichick was mentioning in his press conference that it would have been just unfair to put Mac back out there after they had jumped to that big lead. Now, when we said to put Zappi in the crowd, or as a member of the crowd, that's what I was saying and such. Zappi came out and was killing it. He had 2 touchdowns like right away. I think it was 14-0, or I'm sorry, it was 14-3, I believe at that point. So they were leading. It just became, okay, so this is what we wanted. The whole stadium was rocking during that. And then it became just Chicago's night after that. It was just horrendous. Let's see what else happened here. I'm gonna look at the Bears receivers. N'Keal Harry, that's another point. N'Keal Harry did have a pass, and he might have only had one, but he was in the game. I remember seeing his name. Darryl Mooney, favorite. It seemed like the favorite target for him, but 3 receptions, 53 yards, 17.7 average. Equanimeous St. Brown, 4 for 48, 12-yard average. Cole Kmet, tight end, 2 for 32. Khalil Herbert, 1 for 25. N'Keal Harry, 1 for 14. And he was wide open during that catch, too. And obviously that's N'Keal Harry, former Patriots first-round pick. So Robert Quinn, just recently traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. Roquan Smith, there's kind of a a lot of reports today. He had a press conference when he found out, and he was crying. So obviously it was a little much for him. It's probably like a brother in arms, right? So you always feel bad there, but the rich get richer with that with Philadelphia. So pretty crazy. I mean, if Roquan Smith if he wanted to be traded, he'd go to any team in the league. That guy's awesome. So let's see, kicking. Let's see. Yeah, Carlos Santos, 4 for 4, 50 long, 100%. Guy was awesome. And it was a little bit misty out there too. There's a little bit of rain. Not rain, on the broadcast, you could see like a mist throughout the whole thing. In real life, I barely remember feeling wet at all. So no, I was a little drunk, so that could have had something to do with it. All right, so so that's the recap. I do think the Pats just got outplayed by Eberflus, the coach. I think they'll improve highly. I'm gonna save my my preview for the next week. So thanks for joining us. Let me know if you want me to watch a team, or any of the guys here to Joe or Drew to watch a team. Follow any teams you guys like. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Really appreciate anything. I'll keep doing the videos. I plan to try to do 2 a week. This week was a little bit delayed because, like I said, I went to the game and then I had a funeral to attend to. If you comment on the videos if you'd like, we'll do whatever you guys want. We'll follow any team you want. We'll continue to give you player news, and I'd like to probably start doing some short videos. Might do one later this week or middle of next week. Kind of just doing not so much the week to week, but I'd like to record some videos on all-time games or players that we like, or position groups, stuff like that. 100, once we hit 100 subscribers, Drew's big on reminding me of this one. We're gonna do a raffle of your whatever jersey anyone wants. So, like I said, subscribe and really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in a couple days. Thank you.